Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I wanted to talk about Apex best practices. This will be the first video in a 5-part series about best practices. And before we get started, I just wanted to note that best practices is a huge topic that we could spend hours talking about. These videos will be short and concise. They're going to be tips that I use in my day-to-day life, and I feel like these could benefit any skill level of a developer from junior to senior level. So without further ado, today's topic is operator techniques for cleaner and more concise code. So let's get started. The first few operators I want to talk about are going to be handling nulls. The first one is the null coalescing operator. This is fairly new to Apex. It's actually a pretty cool operator, and I'm glad Salesforce rolled it out. To understand this operator, you have two variables with the double question mark in the middle, and all it's saying is like, hey, if account name equals null, let's use the second variable. If it does not equal null, we'll just stick with account name. So it's a cleaner way to write code. You don't have to do nested if-else statements and so forth. The next one is an operator that's been around software development for quite some time, and I'm really glad to see Salesforce actually rolling this out. Many of you might have used this in JavaScript, but now you can use it in Apex, and that's the safe navigation operator. This one is fairly self-explanatory. It's saying it's just checking to make sure the previous variable is not null. So in this example, we have account question mark dot billing address. So it's saying if we have an account, we have a billing address, use city. If account or billing address is null, it's just going to return null, and it's not going to throw a null pointer exception. Obviously, null pointer exceptions exit the transaction, they break, the end user sees an error, and they're quite pesky. So this is a way to able to return a null without breaking this. The next operator I want to talk about are ternary operators. This is a good way to write inline if-else statements. So it's a lot cleaner than your traditional if-else statements because you're writing it in line. The way you read it is if this condition evaluates to true, so if x equals y, let's go with variable a. If it does not equal y, we're going to variable b. So fairly straightforward. You can write it in line. They're very handy, especially if you have a lot of conditions to check. The next one is compound operators. So these are the plus equals, minus equals, divide equals. If you ever have to get a count of some records or a list in a for loop or a while loop, this is a shorter, concise way to do this with the plus equals instead of saying the more traditional way that your count equals current count plus whatever you're counting. Fairly self-explanatory, so we don't have to spend too much time on that. Our last operators are going to be comparison and logical operators. So these are usually used when you have criteria. So double equals is seeing if variable 1 is exactly variable 2. Exclamation point equals is does not equals. So variable 1 does not equal variable 2. Then we have greater than, less than, greater or equal to, or less than or equal. Finally, we have logical operators. So kind of similar, but very much needed. That's and, or, and not. So if condition 1 and condition 2 evaluates to true, go ahead and enter this condition. Or condition 1 or condition 2, same thing. And the exclamation point is not. So you see this a lot if a list is not empty or a variable is not true. So a variable equals false. So just a cleaner way to write that. So with that being said, let's jump into a little demo. So first I have my dev console. So here I already have set up two variables using the coalescing operator. So in this scenario, since a primary data point is set, it should return primary data point. And it does return primary. So if we go back here and make this null and run this again, it should return secondary because primary is null. And there we go. And then if I jump into cursor, I have this little function I wrote that takes in an account and just returns the account name. So to demo the safe operator, so this would not be save operator, we're not using it, so this is going to throw an exception. There's an exception. So if we go back to our code and add our save operator, which is the question mark, and deploy this. And now if we rerun this code, it should process without an error, which it does. Alrighty, that's today's video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and we'll see you next week for some more Apex best practices. Have a great day.